ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ನೀವು ಎತ್ತರ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟು ಆಗಿ
ಸರಿ ಆಯ್ತು.
ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ
ಅದು ಎರಡಿದೆ. ಎರಡಿದೆ ಇದು ನೋಡಿ. ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಈ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಇದನ್ನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಇಲ್ಲೇ
ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್ ಅದು ಬೇಡಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಶೇರ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಚೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸರ್. ಕರ್ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಸರ್. ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಅದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಶೇರ್. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೇಕು ಸರ್?
ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಓವರ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು.
ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸರ್.
ಇನ್ನು ಟೀ ಟೈಮ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
ಎಷ್ಟನೇದು?
ಮೇ ಬಿ 40 to 40. ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು 51 ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ.
ಓಕೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. So I welcome all the participants for the second session of the this class. And in the morning, in the previous session, we were discussing about the disaster that is because of the extraterrestrial source. In the sense, hit of meteorites onto the surface of the Earth and what happens during that period. Actually, I wanted to show the video to you. At that time, we had some technical issues for that. Now it is now it is okay. I think now I will play this video so that you can understand what happens when a extraterrestrial material hits the surface of the Earth and what kind of disaster can take place. Madam, yes. Madam, ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ? Okay. Now we can go through that video and see what happens during that time, because entire dinosaurs itself, entire one community of dinosaurs has vanished from this earth because of the hit of the huge meteorite in the geological past, maybe 350 million years ago. So now every day we are receiving in the form of dust to bigger sized material from the outer source, from the outer space. Okay, so whenever it hits a very important place, then the problems will start. Okay. Now they are going to share that video. You can just go through that one so you can understand the impact of the meteorites and disaster. Oh, can you see this video? Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
can
sir.
see, how it is going to happen. You can just see. This happened in Russia in the year 2013. Because we cannot predict these kind of disasters. All of a sudden it happens. Next slide, please.
Anderson Cooper 360, weeknights at 8 and 10 on CNN.
The images look like something out of a movie, a tiny asteroid tearing through space at a speed of 33,000 miles per hour before streaking across southern Russia. Cameras caught sight of the white trail as it headed across the sky. And then this. An explosion of light, then a massive sonic boom. Strong enough to shatter windows and damage buildings. There were reports of more than 1,000 people injured, mostly from glass and debris. This video shows a children's judo class. Windows blew out here and in buildings around the region. Some people said they thought it might have been a plane crash. This is the aftermath of the blast in a high school. A 17-year-old student put this video on YouTube, showing the reaction in his physics class. Students screamed and ran into the hallways. He said some in the class thought war had started. Some of the incredible images were caught on cameras placed inside Russian cars. Many drivers now record their journeys in case of crashes or run-ins with police. Shock and gasps at the blinding light, the boom, and all the shattered glass.
Астероид. Реально.
Jim Bolden, CNN, London.
Okay. I think all of you could make out how when a meteorite hits the surface of the earth, what happens. So if the size is of bigger than this, then more damages and destructions will happen. So we have to prepare only for the destruction. So we cannot control these asteroids or the meteorites falling onto the surface of the earth. Okay. No.
cursor.
Right. See, for any kind of disaster, a committee should be there. Committee should be a management committee. Say, usually, a superintendent of medical or director of medicals, he will become the chairman of the committee, and additional medical superintendent will be there. Nursing superintendent or chief nursing officer will be there. Chief medical officer will be there, casualty, and different heads of the department. It is mandatory. They should be there in the committee, disaster management committee. They are mainly surgeons, surgery people, medicine people, orthopedics, radiologists, anesthesiologists, neurosurgery, like that. Different head of the departments will become members of the committee. So, in addition to this, we should have a blood bank in charge. Okay, so security officer should be there, transport officer should be there, sanitary personnel should be there. So all this constitutes the disaster management committee. So this multidisciplinary disaster management committee, it should have a physician, surgeon, orthopedician, nurses, fire service, police people, even politician, local elected politician should be there, security safety officers should be there, chaplains, that means religious heads. Their role is also important. They should be there, NGOs, multidisciplinary team, paraprofessionals, psychologists, social workers. So it invites people from different aspects so that management of any disaster is done properly. See here, nursing during a disaster time, how it is being carried out. And qualities of nurse working in disasters. This is very important because they are the people who are very closely associated with the victims. Their cooperation is very much required, and they should have very good commitment. They should work like Nightingale, Florence Nightingale. You have heard of her. So coordination should be there. They should be able to control the things in that situation, and they should give value for human life. They should not neglect. Oh, this person is that person. Like, it should not never be neglected. So once we are affected by any disaster, means we will having same kind of suffering. So value of human life is more important. Gentleness should be there and devotion should be there. Strength should be there. There's a physical strength, mental strength. Both of them should be there. And trust. They should work in trust. Interdependence and team spirit should be there. Accept self-criticism, toughness and sensitivity. See what happens during a disaster. Some people, they may behave in a different way with nurses also. So they should very carefully deal with such kind of situations and come out of it so that victims should not suffer. So accept self-criticism, toughness and sensitivity, and they should show leadership, and responsibility and accountability should be there. Things should not be taken granted. So they should work very seriously. These are the qualities of a nurse working in disasters. Now we will discuss about triage for disaster management. This is very important. Because of triage, we can control or bring some order to the disaster place. What is this triage means? It is a French verb, trier, means to sort. It assigns priorities when resources limited. When we have very limited resources, disaster has taken place and we have to prioritize the things. So for that, triage has to be done. And this triage is very important in that way. Triage is the process of determining the priority of patients' treatments based on the severity of their condition. So looking at the severity of the condition, triage is done. Triage is nothing but a tagging, triage tag. It is called triage tag. So that which patient is having more intensity of the situation, which one is having less intensity of the situation. So all these aspects has to be studied, and it should be categorized like that, or it should be tagged or labeled, and then the treatment should start. Why is disaster triage needed? Triage consists of rapidly classifying the injured on the basis of the severity of injuries and likelihood of their survival with prompt medical interventions. This is the whole aspect of this triage. So what is that it has to be done means once the disaster takes place, immediately the volunteers should attend the situation, and they should be able to see who is more injured, who is less injured, and what kind of injury is that, who is conscious with consciousness, who is without consciousness. All these aspects has to be considered. So with prompt medical interventions, this has to be done. For this purpose, triage is required. This is what is known as triage itself. This helps in categorizing the injuries, severity of the injuries, and immediate treatment can be adopted for them. What are the advantages of triage? Helps to bring order. First of all, it helps to bring order in such a situation, chaotic situation, and organization to a chaotic scene. That means order and organization is done during that chaotic scene. It identifies and provides care to those who are in greatest need. Helps make the difficult decisions easier. That is the thing. Because one fellow may be severely injured, by the side of him, another fellow may be there who is very least injured. So they have both have to be treated. But who is to be treated in priority? Triage will help. So assure that resources are used in most effective manner. So because sometimes the resources will be very good for treatment, sometimes it may not be. So we should identify the things properly, and within whatever the available resources in an effective manner, this the patient should be, the victim should be addressed or helped. So in this situation, triage will help individual. Aims of triage: to sort patients based on needs for immediate care, to recognize futility. Medical needs will outstrip the immediately available resources. Additional resources will become available given enough time. See, so that once you, chaotic situation will be there whenever a disaster takes place. Some people get serious injuries, some people get moderate injuries, some people are very less injuries. So at that time, we will be seeing everyone there. But what we have to do is sort out the patients based on the needs for immediate care. So who is to be attended very immediately and what has to be taken on him. So that means how he has to be treated. That's the most important thing. So we have to recognize the futility of that one. So medical needs will outstrip the immediately available resources. Additional resources will become available given enough time. So sometimes additional resources also is required. For that, we have to wait for some time and get it done. Principles of triage: every patient should receive and tracked by appropriate skilled healthcare professionals. That means this tagging of patients should be done. Every patient should be done by a skilled healthcare professional. He has to do it very properly. Otherwise, if serious injured person is treated with a tag that indicates that the treatment is not required, something immediately, then he is going to difficult situation. So all these things has to be managed properly. Triage is a clinic managerial decision and must involve collaborative planning. Collaboration should be there while working. Otherwise, it will go to different directions. The triage process should not cause a delay in the delivery of effective clinical care. What happens if you do not do the triage properly? Some patient needs extra medical care. They might be shifted to some nearby big hospital or something like that. At that time, decision has to be taken properly, and tag has to be put properly, and they should send him immediately to that hospital so that he will survive. So that means effective clinical care can be done with the help of triage. Types of triage. Triage can be a simple triage or an advanced triage. Simple triage means START. That means simple triage and rapid treatment. START. It indicates simple triage and rapid treatment. Advanced means patients are classified into classes. So, triage categorization. How triage can be categorized? See, first thing is in red color. Red. Red means it is most urgent. First priority should be given to that victim of that disaster. Yellow color means, yes, it is urgent, but you can give him second priority. Like that. Green color means third priority. Okay. Black means dying or dead. Some people will be at the end stage of their death or almost dead, means they will be labeled black. So levels of triage, immediate means immediate treatment, means red, it should be in red color coding. Delayed means yellow. Minimal injury, not much injuries, maybe bruises and other things like that, green color. And black is dead. So black color will be put for dead. So this is how the triage is done. See, red always given high priority. That means those patients should be given first priority and see that they are saved. Yellow, medium priority. Green, ambulatory. Black, dead. Red, most urgent, first priority. That means life-threatening injuries like shock, chest wounds, internal hemorrhage, head injuries, producing increased loss of consciousness. Partial or full thickness burns over 20% to 60% of the body surface and chest pain. So, and poor chance of survival. All these people should be immediately red traced and given first priority in treatment. Yellow, it is urgent and second priority. That means, what are the things which come under this? Injuries with systematic effects and complications, but not in shock, withstand 30 to 60 minutes, so that they can withstand up to 30 to 60 minutes, like that. Categories include multiple fractures. If a person has undergone multiple fractures, open fractures, spinal injuries, large lacerations, partial or full thickness burns over 10% to 20% of the body surface, and medical emergencies such as diabetic, coma, insulin shock, and epileptic seizure, etc., etc. So all these people are tagged with yellow triage or yellow color triage, and they are treated as urgent and second priority victims. Third priority is green color. That means minimal injuries unaccompanied by systematic complications. So minimal injuries they might have experienced. So only that one. Wait several hours for treatment, so that even if the patient waits for some hours of treatment, he can survive, that victim. Okay. So like that. Closed fractures. If any closed fractures are there, minor burns, minor lacerations, sprains, contusions, and abrasions. So they are labeled in green color. They are tagged in green color. They are traced in green color, and they become the third priority. And the fourth thing is, it will be in black color. That means dying or dead. Some people, some victims may be in nearby, they are very close to the death, and some are dead after the disaster. So they are put with black tag or traced. Hopelessly injured patients or dead victims. They are called hopelessly injured patients. That means chances of their living is very less. Okay, they are going to die shortly. So that way, that kind of situation may be there. So they will be put with black colored tags or traced. Crushing injuries to the head or chest, then they would not survive under the best of circumstances. Even if you give very good treatment and very good situation for them, they may not survive. In that case, black or dying or dead, they are put with that kind of, that color tag or traced. Coordination and involvement of community, psychological care, because we have to inspire them with good thoughts, so that they are not further get into any this thing. They should not be scared of the situation. Emotional support services should be given. Treatment for victims and their families, because families will get panicked. So when you are treating a victim, you should tell their families that he is going to recover, he will live, don't worry, like that. You should give good words and see that they are also not get into these things. Assess the community. Is there a current community disaster plan in place? What previous disaster, is there a current community disaster plan in place? What previous disaster experiences has the community been involved with locally, statewide, nationally? How is the local climate conducive to disaster formation? How is the local terrain conducive to disaster formation? See, climate, type of terrain, all these has to be assessed properly so that you will understand what kind of disaster has, depending upon the type of disaster has taken place, what kind of community is involved in it. What are the local industries? So all these things has to be understood properly. If you assess these things, so that entire community can be very, in a planned way, can be saved. Now coming to the tag or triage, you can see here, if it is in red color, it indicates the patient or the victim is to be treated immediately, meaning he is in acute danger for life. So what is the outcome? Life-threatening injuries. If he has suffered life-threatening injuries, requires immediate medical attention and will not survive if not seen soon. That means that kind of patient should be given first priority. Okay, so if they have any injuries that makes them die, so if they are nearer to their deathbed, they should be treated first with all medical attention. Okay, and if you see some of the examples of this one, they include tension, pneumothorax, massive hemorrhage. If hemorrhage has taken place, that should be given first preference. Cardiac tamponade, major traumatic amputation. So all these things, they can happen. So if you see these kind of situation with a patient or a victim during the disaster, they should be immediately tagged with red color, triage, and given treatment. See, massive hemorrhage and cardiac arrest. So what has happened to the victim here? So these kind of victims, they should be treated immediately so that there may be chance of survival of them. So this is yellow color tag, triage tag, yellow color triage tag. Serious, this is also serious one, but not life-threatening. Okay, so this you can put it as delayed one, category delayed, meaning severe injury. Injury is severe, but not life-threatening, that way. Even though it is life-threatening, but can wait until the immediate casualties are stabilized. Until the immediate casualties are stabilized and evacuated. Constant observation should be there on these kind of patients. Okay, so they are tagged in yellow. So like that, you have to categorize the things so that an order can come in a disaster place. Example, flail chest with hypoxia, minor amputations, flesh wounds, fractures and dislocations, pulmonary contusions. So if any victim is having these kind of things, immediately he should be given treatment, but it is a triaged yellow in color so that he can wait for some time and get good treatment and he can save. That has to be done with the committee. Whatever the disaster committee is there and who are all the doctors working, nurses working, they should decide. So this patient needs this kind of treatment. This patient needs immediate treatment. Like that kind of classification should be done. See here. You can see here. Amputations, bruise wounds and fractures. So they will be immediately put with yellow color, and they can wait for some time and get, in the sense means compared to the earlier red color, this is next to that. So these people also need immediate treatment, but they can wait for some time. See, green color. Green color tag means walking wounded, minor. Triage tag is green. And here, the injuries are minimal. That means minor injury or no injury. And they can walk. Even if they have some injuries, they can walk. That is walking wounded. It is called walking wounded. So, outcome is treatment when practical, transport and or discharge requires medical attention when all higher priority patients have been evacuated. So that means first preference will be given to the red color and yellow color victims, and later these things will come into picture, green colored one. That's why requires medical attention. These kind of victims or patients require medical attention when all higher priority patients have been evacuated. That means first preference should be given to the red tag and also the next yellow tag, and finally this comes minor triage, minor green tag people. So example is lacerations, sprains, abrasions, that means bruises that happens during any disaster, non-displaced, minimally angulated, closed fractures of the digit. So they can wait for some time and get treatment. See, minor lacerations. So you can see whatever that has happened is movement along the finger or any other portion of the body. So these kind of small displacements will be there. They can be brought to order, but such kind of patients can wait for some time. See, walking injured. You can see in the first picture, one fellow is being walked. He might have received some injuries, but he is in a position to walk. So his treatment can be little bit delayed, in the sense first preference should be given to red tag, second to yellow tag, and then to this green tag, because he has suffered some sprains. Okay, so here also the same thing. Whenever there's some sprains, whenever they are in a position to walk, their treatment will be, because resources should be available in the area of the disasters. Sometimes everything may not be available. So who are the patients who are supposed to be treated, they should be sent immediately first. Categorization is very important, so that it will bring the situation to an order, so that no chaotic situation will be there. See, abrasions like this, no here, no fractures, nothing, just abrasions. So they can be treated there itself, or they can also be taken to some hospital depending upon the situation. That means the order of this treatment has to be considered by the people who are working with the disaster committee. See here, non-displaces minimally angulated closed fractures. So these kind of situations, they can be treated with some time. So life-threatening will not be there for these kind of accident people. So they can be saved by treating them maybe a bit later. Non-displaces minimally angulated closed fractures. Okay, so these kind of fractures, this will not require any major operations, right? So with the available local material, they can operate, or they can clear these things with medicines and other things, and see that the victim comes into order. And fourth one is the tag triage, that is diseased, no respiration. That means he is dead. Victim is diseased. Individuals are left where found, cover if necessary. Such kind of people will be covered with some cloth. Okay, they are categorized as expectant. That means no or small chance of survival. Their chance of survival will not be there at all. No spontaneous breathing. See, if any person is with life, means he should breathe. No spontaneous breathing means even after clearing the airway, he is dead or dead. Okay. Outcome is expected not to reach higher medical support alive. That means even if you give him higher medical support, there are no chance of survival. So such kind of situations. So if dead, collection, guarding of bodies. So if such kind of persons, if they survive, it's okay.
हलवा दूं, सिर्फ खा लिया, शाम को खा लिया। डालडा वालडा होगा।
कहाँ मिल रहा है यार?
नाक पकड़ लिया।
असली घर मिलता तो वहां भी नहीं मिल रहा अब तो। क्यों?
Any problem? See, some of the things I am to make you understand more. Some of the things are little bit extended. That means repeated in a way, in a different manner. So try to follow, because all the people cannot get into things very quickly. So maybe some differences will be there. That's why, right? So identification when possible. So that has to be done with some dark colored or black color tags. Examples, mainly it includes severe injuries, uncompensated blood loss, negative neurological assessment, no spontaneous breathing after clearing of airway. So all these things will consider it has to be put with black color tag. Unresponsive patient with open head wound and exposed brain. Okay, burns 2 degree and 3 degree more than 50% total TBSE. Okay, total body surface area. Exposure to radiation. More than 500 rats with immediate signs of radiation sickness. See, in this kind of situation, so whatever you find, they will be tagged or traced with black colored tag, so that chances of survival is very, very less there. So such kind of people has to be categorized during a chaotic situation, during a serious disaster. See, severe injuries and blood loss. Sometimes because of accidents or something man-made things, severe injuries may take place and blood loss will take place. So neurological problems and no breathing. Expectant. So they will be tagged with expectant. So that way categorization has been done. What is the need of this disaster triage? Need is inadequate resources to meet immediate needs. Infrastructure limitations. So usually in the disaster area, you cannot expect a very good high-tech hospital, multi-specialty hospital. Maybe somewhere in Himalayan region it might have happened, means infrastructure limitations will be there. So at that time, till the victim gets some proper treatment, he has to be disaster triaged, so that you can identify what kind of situation is faced by the victim. Inadequate hazard preparation. So usually, if it is man-made, different kind of situation. Natural means hazard preparation is very difficult. Suddenly flood, suddenly earthquake, suddenly volcanic eruption is what we will do. Limited transport capabilities. Okay, when that is the situation, because some of the hilly terrain, you cannot move the vehicle at all. That is the situation. The patient has to be brought from some other place to some better place. That means these things, so during this process, who is to be sent first, who is to be sent later? So with the limited available resources, triage will help and see that some solution is done to the victim. Multiple agencies responding. What are the advantages of triage? Helps to bring order and organization to a chaotic scene. This is the most important thing. It identifies and provides care to those who are in greatest need. Helps make the difficult decisions easier. Assure that, because whom to be treated first, who is living, who is not living, among them, who is in a very bad situation, who is in a better situation, whom should be treated them with first priority, second priority. So triage will help us. It will helps to make the difficult decision easier. That is the advantage of triaging. Assure that resources are used in the most effective manner. So whatever the resources available there, they should be used in the most effective manner. And it may take some of the emotional from those doing triage. So see, these are all the advantages of triage. That has to be done very systematically, so that not much disorder will be there in this kind of situation. So disaster recovery, that means rehabilitation. That means some people might have lost very basic things. First, that has to be reset. Restoration of basic social functions, that's most important. What is that means? They might have lost their houses, their shelters. So immediately they should be provided with temporary shelters. Okay. Stress debriefing for responders and victims. Economic rehabilitation. This has to be done so that they can recover from the disaster. Psychosocial rehabilitation. So their psychological conditions, social conditions, it has to be rehabilitated so that they can come out of that disaster effect. Scientific damage assessment, because they have to come back to their original situation. For that, scientifically, one should assess how much damage has taken place and how much we can cover these damages and how much we can find very good solutions for these damages so that they are not suffered again. So, like that, things has to be done. So, when the disaster happens, the role of nurse is very important, especially in recovery. Surveillance and prevention of epidemic outbreak. That's most important thing. Nurse has to take care of this thing so that they can come out of that situation. Victims should come out of the situation. And water supply, food supply and safety, they should drink. Water supply means not the supply of water, in the sense what water they are drinking. So what kind of water, whether it is polluted or not, because at that time we may not get good water whenever the this happens, disaster happens. So they should be monitored by the nurse. Food supply and safety has to be done. Control of vectors, care of survivors. With all good way, all the survivors should be cared so that they will not become again victim immediately after these disasters. Whenever, whatever the vaccination is required, that has to be applied, that has to be done. Counseling should be done and behavior modification should be done, because once the disaster has taken place means many people will have a panic. Immediately they will not be in a position to do what to do, what not to do, these kind of things. Confusions will be there. Okay, they should be controlled with nurses only. So they should counsel them properly and see that they do not get panic out of the situation. Then shelter management plans. This is most important. Nurses, actually nurse can act as shelter managers. They should listen to the victims, encourage victims to overcome the crisis, provide the basic resources like food, water, etc. Provide compassion and dignity to the victim. Okay? They should not lose their heart. You should have some compassion and say, you will come back, don't worry, like that. Some good words should be put to them, and so that their dignity is not hurt. So that way it has to be maintained. And these nurses should act as shelter managers. Rehabilitation by health sector. That means rehabilitation involves a lot of things. Community cleanup efforts, that should be there. Teaching proper hygiene, because whatever the area may get polluted and you may not find hygienic environment. So suddenly everything will be disrupted, your drainage system, water system, so many things will happen. So proper hygiene should be taught to the people who are the victims so that further deterioration should not occur. Alert for environmental health hazards. That is the thing. So if there is any environmental health hazard takes place means epidemics will dominate. So that in addition to the disaster, they will also face this disaster. So health hazards will be there. So they have to come out of all those things. So they should be given proper guidance so that these things will not affect them. And the nurses should go and visit the home, or the people who are involved in the health sector, they should go and visit home and follow up and care. So follow up the care so that they will not be much disturbed. See, in India, disasters, how vulnerable. If you see the profile of India, 58% is vulnerable to earthquakes, 16% to drought, 12% to flood, 8% to cyclones, and 3% to landslides. This is what is happening in the entire country. So that means we are having continuously the effect of these disasters in one way or the other, in one place or the other place. So you have to counter all these things through proper way. This can be done only with the help of management of the disaster situation. Disaster Management Act of India. In 2005, Government of India has declared the establishment of authority in the name of National Disaster Management Authority under the chairmanship of Prime Minister of India, who can nominate 9 persons, one as vice chairperson. The appointment of officers and other staff from time to time will be provided by the central government. The authority is vested with power of laying down the policy, plans and guidelines, approval of national plan, and coordinate the enforcement and implementation of the policies. And that committee recommend funds for the purpose of mitigation, that means to control the disasters, providing such support to the countries met with major disaster. Take suitable measures for the prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and capability building. And capacity building of the team. Lay down policies and guidelines for the functioning of NIMD. NIMD means National Institute for Disaster Management. So these things has to be done, and this is the Disaster Management Act of India. The authority may constitute advisory committee consisting of experts of the respective disaster. See, all cannot be in the one single disaster because different people will be there for different disasters. So authority will assist to the central government to form National Executive Committee. The Secretary to the Government of India looking after the disaster management. He will look after all the disaster management. The Secretaries to the Government of India for Agriculture, Finance, Health, Communication, Water Resource Staff. The chairperson of the committee can assess the power to constitute subcommittees, keeping one member of the National Executive Chairperson. It shall consist the national authority discharging the duties, monitoring the body, preparing the national plan, coordinate the implementation of the national policies. Guidelines for preparing plans, assisting the state government disaster management plans, integration measures for prevention and mitigation, coordinate specialized training program, make available any department agencies for relief measures advice, assist and coordinate the state's authority and promote general education awareness. This is most important. Education in disaster management. Having met with large number of disasters with heavy loss and spent independence nearly 70 years, more than 70 years, India has yet to realize the importance of bringing the mass to awareness. Even countries like Singapore, Thailand, Korea, Panama, Uganda have already initiated the teaching of disaster management. India is still in the lethargic conditions, blinking what to do, except in some universities and institutes. This has to be done in priority, because when a country like Uganda can do a better thing in disaster management than in our country, what is use? So we boast ourselves as very we are towards the developed country now. Okay, so when this is the situation, we should have a better thing, or better education system, which includes the disaster management at the school level itself, so that the mind will be set for the youngsters. At this juncture, we should appreciate the efforts of few individuals, NGOs, and institutions who have given voice enough to the public on the necessity of learning disaster. There are 3 vital sections to be understood in applying the managerial activity. It is nothing but mitigation monitoring and awareness. So this is most important, mitigation monitoring and awareness, because some of the natural calamities, it is very difficult to mitigate. So somehow it has to be managed, and at least we should create the awareness This area is vulnerable to earthquake. This area is vulnerable to landslide. This area is vulnerable to flood. Like this kind of awareness should be created so that whatever that happens next to that can be managed properly. Depending upon the convenience and local demand, few institutions, they have made few institutions have started disaster management learning. In some of the institutions, it is there, and in some universities, in some syllabus, they have included disaster management as one single paper or something like that. But it is better to give them practical training so that each individual should understand what his role during when a disaster takes place. So that way they can contribute to the society. So, what are the roles of disaster management personnel? Trained manpower is necessary to deal with the situation before the disaster, during disaster, and after the disaster. Because this is, if trained manpower is there, then they can deal the situation in a better way than with a raw person. The trained manpower helps in quick rehabilitation of the disaster affected people. This has to be done. Understands their psychological conditions and helps in their post-disaster settlement. So, by training a manpower, by introducing these kind of courses in the universities and institutes, we can help the society that way, so that post-disaster settlement also they can do in a better way. In the planning and policy, in the policy making, trained and experienced persons are highly required to give better suggestions. So whatever may be the planning is done and policy making is done, trained and experienced personnel, if they are there, they can be made into the members of that group so that their suggestions will help a lot to build a group so that that group can act during any kind of disaster and save people. What the nurses should know. See, nurses, they play a very important role when a disaster happens. Okay, so what they have to, they should know that chairman of the National Disaster Management Authority, that is NDMA, is the Prime Minister of India. National Institute of Disaster is situated at Delhi. And nodal ministries related with disasters are these things. Depending upon the type of disaster, nodal ministry operates. See, natural disaster like flood, tsunami, cyclone, earthquake, and man-made disaster, civil strife, some riots and something, terrorism, something like that, they are all controlled by Home Affairs. They will deal with that one. Drought, that is because of low rainfall, Agriculture Ministry will take care of it. Biological, epidemics, health and family welfare, nodal ministry will take care of it. Chemical, forest related, environment and forest, that ministry has to involve and see that problem is solved. Nuclear, atomic energy ministry is there. They take care of that one. Air accidents, civil aviation minister. Railway accidents, railway minister. Industrial accidents, labor minister. So, like that, nodal ministries are there related to different kinds of disasters, and one should know this one, which one we have to approach for what kind of disaster. And mock drills have to be conducted. See, this experimental work has to be done in each and every part of the country so that whenever they get trained, so youngsters will get trained. So in the colleges, schools and other places, whatever happens, how to control it, all these things. If an earthquake happens, what we have to do. If a landslide happens, what we have to do, how to treat with the victims and other things. So these kind of things to be trained through mock drills also. So that can be done. Okay, this is very much practiced in a country like Japan because Japan is more prone to earthquakes. So There they don't bother at all, because when I had the opportunity to visit there and stay there for some time, during that period, we had one day earthquake. They did not panic. I was worried. All my whatever the material that I had kept on the table, they fell down. Immediately, I went to the reception counter and asked them. They just told nothing happens. So these are all very common things here happening. So that they are all trained people, so that they can manage these things easily. So nothing happened. So that way we should be trained. So there they do a lot of mock drills. So in such severely affected areas, they train people, including students and everyone, so that they should face this kind of situation. Lessons learned. What lessons we have to learn or learned out of this disaster is be prepared. Preparedness and mitigation, control. That means preparedness and control. Mitigation is bound to yield more effective returns than distributing relief after a disaster. That means you say when a person is dead, you announce some 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs like that. Instead of that, in the beginning itself, you should prepare. So something is going to happen here, we have to take care. And if that happens, how to control it? So these things will yield more effective returns than simply distributing relief after a disaster. Create a culture of preparedness and prevention. This is most important. So we should have, for any kind of disaster, a particular area is prone to this kind of disaster. So we should develop a culture of preparedness and how to prevent that one. So these things we should learn. Evolve a code of conduct for all stakeholders. That is the thing. So if these lessons are learned, then we can come out with any disasters that happens. So International Day for Disaster Reduction, it is called IDDR. International Day for Disaster Reduction or International Disaster Day is celebrated on 13th October. Rallies and special lectures were organized in the universities and colleges to mark the initiatives of awareness for disaster reduction amongst youth and children. That means why this is conducted, so that when you conduct a rally by students in the universities or colleges, so it will create awareness, and that awareness may help during disaster time. So how to play during that period, and how to escape, how to survive, and how to help other people. So all these things you can learn on this day. So it is good to celebrate every year International Day for Disaster Reduction. So that way a kind of awareness can be created among the general public also. Theme of International Day for Disaster Reduction in the 2017 itself, it was home safe home, reducing exposure, reducing displacement. So natural hazards or disasters, they are inevitable. We cannot stop the natural disaster. It will happen in nature. Okay, but only thing is you can try to reduce the vulnerability by our efforts. So whenever the disaster takes place, information on disaster management can be obtained through this contact. It is called NDMA control room. Okay, with all these phone numbers are there: 9868891801, 9868101885, and also you can mail them or we can visit the website, so that whatever the information on disaster management we can obtain through these things. They have clearly classified the subcontinent of India, where different kinds of disasters occur, which area is prone to it, and what precautions we have to take. All these things we can obtain through these things. Okay, thank you all of you for your patient listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Yes, any doubts, any questions? Madam, excuse me. Complete ಆಯ್ತಿದು ಇದು ಮುಗೀತಿದ್ದು. ಎಸ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಓವರ್. ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ.
स्टॉप शेयर करो फोटो